Hello, Miss Noreem.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I am well. It's getting warmer here, so I'm feeling much better with the warm because we were down to like 4 degrees and all that last week. So
That's cold. That's cold. It was pretty warm yesterday for us.
really,
So, yes,
so
yes. So, we
it
didn't
was.
have to deal with any bad weather.
I know, right? I was telling you
Hmm.
the situation where I can't be in Atlanta because even here, my husband checked me up. The flights are canceled, and so hopefully I can join you all tomorrow by Zoom or some way we have now. If not, then I know that you definitely have it because you are that chapter leader. That is our
Yeah.
model chapter leader, I should say.
Well,
I'm very appreciative to you, Miss Noreen Whitehead. And those of you who don't know Miss Noreen Whitehead and that's streaming live with us now on our different platforms, Miss Noreen is the one of the head chapter leaders of National Women in Agriculture Association. When I said head leader, if you want to know how to do community outreach consistently and with heart-filled, good energy, good attitude, high energy, I highly suggest you click into her name under Georgia chapter on NWIAA.org website, or she also has her website, Georgia Women in Ag. That's the ultimate goal for all chapters, but she stepped out and she did it. And she does it consistently, daily, weekly. And I'm going to let her tell her story, but I have to make sure you understand why we chose her to end this year on the positive, upbeat note of great work and what a leader looks like, from the loyalty to NWIAA as well as to myself, the respect of leadership, and hopefully I provide it back to you as your leadership because I'm highly appreciative. You've been with us for many years. I don't even know the date George was established off the top of my head. I do have my assistant looking that up. Do you have it, Miss Noreen, when you came into the
this,
organization?
I came in 2014 when you had
Wow.
um, your fourth anniversary
Yeah, the fourth
here in Atlanta,
annual conference, the symposium. They're in
the
Atlanta.
symposium.
Yes,
That is
remember
that is when we met. That
that.
is when we met.
That's a
And
long.
I brought all of the youth to the event. You
You
remember the
did.
drum corps and the steel band
Yes,
from
you did.
our church. They were awesome.
They
They
were
were
awesome,
absolutely
and
awesome.
you haven't stopped growing since then. Literally, as well
And
as
and I just jumped in. It was like I couldn't believe I kept learning of all the um, opportunities, and
yes,
I didn't know about these opportunities, and I wanted everybody else to know.
that's
So I
right.
said, I gotta tell everybody this this is a
That's the way
secret
it's
here.
supposed to be. Yeah, and
Yes.
like I said, you are that model chapter leader. When you said to share, um, that is what National Women in Agriculture Foundation is built off of. And you're a living witness. If you put in the effort and the work, uh,
Hmm.
you could go for the exact same resources that I do here at headquarters because we are structured like that. Headquarters here, I have trained our staff to be able to incorporate chapters for us, as well as DUNS numbers, EIN, all the corporate paperwork it takes in order to do business in the United States or anywhere for that matter in the world. But you took that actual seed and you have grown. You are now tapping into USDA grant resources the way it's supposed to be.
Hmm.
Hopefully soon we'll be our own grant funder through our bill and charter because that's what we're working on doing. And
Hmm.
I'm going to rest there, Miss Noreen, and I want you to tell us where you're from, your farm background, if you had anything and everything about you, because this show is all about you. We lay flowers, pink rose petals at your feet, because that's how appreciative we are of your leadership. So,
Well, I thank you so much. I thank you for even having a platform for me to even, serve. As I call myself a servant leader,
that's it.
because
You have to serve.
I'm going to be working right alongside you.
Thank you
So
so much.
that's what we do.
That's what we do.
And that's what we do. So I am actually from the Bronx, New York. I'm
Look
Bronx
at that
bred,
box. Okay.
but I I migrated over here to Georgia to find some work. So um, the, when I came here, I came to Savannah for the weekend, and I got hired as at a school, Raymond Junior Academy, and I never left. I never went back to New York. All my stuff had to be sent back to me.
Oh wow.
So that's how I landed here in Georgia, teaching. Because after I came back from overseas, I did teach overseas
Oh
in
wow.
Zaire, and that's where I got my teaching, experience. And so they needed a teacher, so I was that teacher.
In
But
Zaire, you said Africa?
right, I was in Zaire, Africa, for like 8 months
Nice.
teaching. I learned Swahili. It's a French-speaking country, so the missionaries' children couldn't go to school, so I was their teacher as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I taught them, and I also taught English
Mm.
to to the natives in the city. But how how did I get to agriculture, right? Well, I'm also a community person because my mother
Mhm.
was a community leader. She was a rock in the community. So I saw how she worked and how she pulled the the neighborhood together and all the children, and she had programs for us. So I grew up around a lot of activity and
Yes.
programs and that she did. So that's where we get it from. Me and my
It's in your
sister
blood,
together.
right? Like they say, it's in your blood. It's in the
It's,
DNA now.
it's in my blood. I can't get it out. So
That's right.
when you call that garden, the garden that I was at, hey, Haleen, the garden queen,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
she handed the phone to me and said, um, "Can you get us some youth for our program?" I said, "Sure," and I ran it on down to you. I can get this, this, this,
You
and
did.
that's exactly what happened. And so that's how I came into the ag space,
Okay.
being a youth leader, as a
Wonderful.
youth leader, and working with youth. And
Yes.
so that's where I started at with youth,
Yes. You did.
teaching them in a daycare center or after school center. We had a garden program. We
Mhm.
did that.
I
And
remember.
then as time went along, I began to learn about all the other programs because I did not know them.
Right.
And going to different community meetings, um, especially with Quabana.
Uh-huh.
Um, he was taking me all around to all the meetings, and so I began to learn the lay of the land,
Yes,
so to
ma'am.
speak.
That's
You know,
it.
and then I entered into the school system here in
Mhm.
Clayton County, and that is where I met the science teacher, and we formed agri-teams at
Yeah.
that school and
Yeah.
began to work with them. You remember we brought one of the young ladies from high school to Washington, D.C. with us.
Most definitely, I
She,
remember very well. You
right. She had
have,
met,
you have brought several young people to Washington, D.C.
yes, yes. But I
You
remember her,
intentional on making sure we do what we're supposed to do.
right. But her in particular, because she was graduating from high school and she never been on an airplane. So
Yeah.
she sat with me, she held my hand so tight. She'd never been to Washington, D.C.
Wow.
She was able to meet John Lewis for the
Uh-huh.
first time. You remember we all met him and took that picture. I said,
Yes,
"Do you know who this is?" She
yes,
said, "No." I said, "Here, take this picture."
yes.
So it's really remarkable to see young people and see them learn what they never knew before,
That's right.
and also with our and then we did a whole program with Miss Dana Harris, and
Uh-huh.
um, we were able to do a program with the steps. This it's called,
It
it's
was
not
like
coming to me.
leadership, business leadership
Right,
step program.
entrepreneurship, right,
Mhm.
the entrepreneurship.
I
And
remember very
so we
well.
was able to make a profile for them. We is able to do their mission statement.
Uh-huh.
And so now they're on, some of them are already in college, um, making that happen. So,
Ooh,
yeah.
success stories. Boom.
Yes,
That's
yes.
those success stories. Yes, ma'am.
hmm And our latest one is Justin,
Yeah.
and from out of Augusta. So
Yes.
he is right now in college in Augusta,
Wow.
on a scholarship program, athletic scholarship program, but he always has his hand in agriculture.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. And his mother is
Mhm.
military, and she's
Yes,
definitely a woman in ag, a veteran woman in ag that is
yes,
very
she is
active in her
Miss
community.
Carla.
Yes.
Miss Carla Walker.
Mhm.
Yes, she is very, very, very. She was instrumental in us going to Washington D.C. as well,
Yes, ma'am. I remember
and
very
bringing.
well.
And
Very.
so all of this is leading, has led me to the farm, working with the farmers. So that's what I'm presently doing,
Mhm.
working with our new and beginning farmers.
Yeah,
And it is just, we just are enjoying our training experience with Fort Valley and UGA and all the different community, you know, programs and partners, and just being able to see what it is and how it is that we can lend our hands
that's
to
it.
do, you know.
And would you agree it's easier to be able to connect to people and have these experts on um, as your collaborators, as your partners to help educate the people, like Fort Valley, UGA,
hmm
to go in and understand the structure? Because I just got some inquiry to open up some more chapters here in the United States. And
hmm
the best thing I could tell them, you need to watch and connect with Miss Noreen if you want to know how to actually have a chapter established. You need to make sure you have those partnerships like you have with
hmm
colleges. That's
Yeah.
first and foremost. Because you cannot, you're not the expert. We are not experts in certain fields of agriculture. Like we get into issues with pest control, water,
hmm
you get diseases on the plants. That's what those UGA and those Fort Valley agriculture colleges, what they call land grant colleges, are for. Is for us to reach out to them, to actually even reach to them so they can connect to the farmers. So we're like the
hmm
actual middle piece that connects the government, the people, all to programs to assist them in their community. Would you agree with that, Ms. Noreen?
I would definitely agree with that. And I am so glad for Dr. Brown at Fort Valley. He
Yes,
is always, working with us,
bless.
and with the farm now with the farmers. So yes, you need that plug. You need that plug,
You have to.
because they will connect you to the other pieces
Oh,
that you need as well.
right, right.
Other community pieces, and then also working along with those around you.
Yes,
Like
ma'am.
Atlanta is an urban, we're growing all over the place.
Yes, you
You
are,
know,
man.
so there's so many people to work with and partner with, and to build with.
That's
And
it.
so, yeah, so we still in those stages, because we just now we were able to receive this funding from NEFA that will help to train our new farmers, and then they will go out and build.
That's
So
it.
it's just like, it's levels to this,
It is levels. It's levels.
First you train, you learn, and then you go out and you do,
That's it.
you know.
And
That's
it's really simple because it's all, you never stop learning. I was
right.
in a family game over the holidays, the Family Feud game, and we did it as a family. And that was one of, they said, well, name some human, what on your body never stops growing?
Mm,
Well, brain was one of them. And that hit really home because I know in the industry of agriculture, you never stop learning. That's the way God designed it, to keep evolving and keep connecting to people. And you as a leader, you have exemplified and over exceeded that most has not even dared attempt, or they come in to the organization asking or demanding or wanting without going through these steps. So I want you to talk a little bit about those steps to get them to be where you are to receive grant resources or even resources from like myself. I'm very particular now who headquarters partners with, even if you're chapped up under the umbrella, because I've seen so much when it comes to not understanding. You bring something to the table before you start asking for something from a table that's already set, if that makes sense.
It does make sense because I've worked in, the arena
Yes,
without any funding,
without,
you know,
yes,
without any funding. In fact, this is the very first time that we have been able to work with some funding, you
right,
know. So I'm looking forward to building on that.
yes, ma'am.
And so that funding is for the new and beginner farmers. So that's why I'm working with them. So when I receive, funds for schools and then I'll be able to do more in
Yes,
that arena. But we're looking to do that. I had a phone call from one of the school districts, and we will be making that happen in
yeah.
the new year.
I love when
Mhm.
you hear, I hear school and children because
Yes,
that's sustainability. And
yes,
that's where we constantly have to keep pushing some of the adults back, if you will. Because ultimately
hmm
what they do is try to steal from babies because what we're doing is for our children ultimately. And trying to have our children to be good, solid community people to grow food, raise food, because there's going to be a huge food shortage that we're going to do a blast out here after a while, where there are predicted to be a huge food shortage. So you know
hmm
what that means? We have to do exactly what you're doing, develop new and beginning farmers. Uh,
yes.
but give us like an example, and of course, we're not going to call names or anything like that. But when it comes to the structure of National Women in Agriculture, what are some of the tips that you would give as a community leader to someone what to expect in the organization? Like what you need to do.
Well,
First, like 3 steps.
okay. Well, first, you will need to know the area where you are and what is needed in that area,
There you go.
so that you can address what is needed.
Right.
And then, of course, you have a team. I now have a team. I love my team.
Yeah.
Um, and shout out to them. Shout out to Alexis and
Yes,
Diane,
Alexis Harris. Yes.
Blue Moon Farms, and of course,
Yes.
Alexis traveled with us to Washington D.C., so
Yes, ma'am.
knows she knows some of the ins and outs of
That's
how that works, and she is in the hemp industry arena.
good. Yes.
So all of it is a learning, and all of us are learning together and growing together.
Love it.
And um, I have to say, shout out to Zemarine,
Okay.
because she has been with, we have been together the longest, holding down everything when there was nothing, because there was a time when there was nothing going
We
on,
didn't have
you know,
nothing.
you had nothing.
And no one would pay us any attention. We weren't even counted as farmers or educators, minority women, until National Women in Agriculture was founded. And that's how we got inducted this year into the Smithsonian, where it'll always be there forever, into the Science
That,
Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. So I'm
that's
very,
amazing.
yes, it
That
is.
that's amazing.
Do
That
it
is,
all.
yes, because what we're dealing with, because nobody really looks at agriculture as something to go into. No, you know food comes from there, but it's like it's on autopilot. Oh yeah, we get food, but nobody really looks and see, really, how do you get that food? Where does the food come from? Who's growing the food? Do you
That's
know this food?
right.
It's not just on the shelf. It didn't just pop on the shelf. There's
Mhm.
people that had to put their hands in the ground to make that happen.
That's right. That's
And
right.
and so when they no longer can do that, that we need the other we need the next generation to
Yes,
step up,
ma'am.
you
Yes,
know?
ma'am.
So that is why we have to educate them now to let them know there are opportunities. There's all kind of jobs. If you don't want to do that part, you can do the paperwork part. You
That's
can
right.
be an attorney. You can be an attorney. You can be an engineer, a
Doctor,
mechanical
whatever.
engineer.
Everything is agriculture.
Everything. That is correct. Everything that you touch
Everything. Yes.
is
The
a part
air
of
that you're
agriculture.
breathing is agriculture.
That is correct.
Yeah.
So even though you're doing something, you can still come in the industry of agriculture and find your niche.
Yes.
There's a niche for everybody,
Yes.
whatever it is you're doing, even if you're in finances, if
That's
you're,
it.
an accountant, if you're an attorney,
Mhm.
it's needed in agriculture. And so when I found that out, and then the scholarships, oh man, I
Yeah.
was so happy. Like, we have farmers markets, right? So we were out in Stonecrest Mall,
Mhm.
and as we set up our table, we let the those that come, we educate them about the programs for their young people.
Mhm.
So a mother and her daughter came by, and I told them about the summer program, the Ag Discovery Program,
Mhm.
and said, "Here, sign up." I said, "The date is close.
Mhm.
It's a deadline. You have to do it right away." So I found out months after the program that she did go to the program, and she chose a school. Yes, she chose a school. I was so happy.
Definitely
Yes,
highlight that. Yes.
yes, and she wants to go, and so she is going to go to that school. I believe she goes to Roswell High School, and she wants to go to the exact school where she did her ag, ag discovery program. And I
Awesome.
was so happy to hear that. Many people, now I tell a lot of people, but
Yeah.
she is she was the one that came back and said, my daughter went, and she wants to go to that school. I
That is
said, that's
phenomenal.
amazing. That's
We are
amazing.
going to highlight her, and I want to speak to her on the talk show when we do the youth month. I definitely want to.
Okay,
So you would
I will
say
make sure.
the first things, as the question, the first things that you need to know are to be a true leader, a community leader. You first have to understand the need in the community.
Hmm.
Second, you have to address the need by getting
Yeah,
out, telling people, and doing the outreach, right?
that's
Uh,
right.
Third, I would say
Do the
being
groundwork.
you making sure you have the right partners. You got to make sure your
Hmm.
partnership with colleges, land grant universities, the 1890s and the 1862s. Those are primarily, and then you have your tribal colleges. You have the Latino community colleges that, well, not community colleges, but agriculture colleges that we have to partner with, or even if you was up under our umbrella or not. And we have this in the checklist. And Ms. Noreen, I want to give you your shout out because you are so in compliance with
Hmm.
National Women in Agriculture. We see you sending your membership list. Our
Hmm.
board, and I'm just going to put it out here today. The board is one to speak to everyone. Just an impromptu meeting today at 3, which will be at 4 o'clock on Eastern, 3 o'clock on Central. It's just kind of overview. I'm sorry, Tay's looking at me. It's supposed to be 1:30. And so right after this, it's going to be 2:30 your time. But thank you. Those are the things that people need to understand. Paperwork, you listed that
Hmm.
as well. You have to be able to put the work in before you try to take away from a table or just be involved in agriculture, period. Because this brings me to the other part, being a partnership with the USDA. The first thing that you're going to learn, you need to be in the industry at least 3 consecutive years as an agriculture person to tap into the resources. Now, I'm working on something on the back end. I'll tell you guys about it later to try to help with that. But even the USDA requires some skin in the game, if you will. Uh,
Hmm.
our organization has tried to make it very lenient, if you will, where they can only start off by doing one outreach meeting per quarter. That's one every 3 months. So in between that time, you do what you want to do as far as a community person. So, Miss Noreen, what is your experience with the USDA, starting with Farm Service Agency, because that's the first stop. And I tell anyone, you need to contact your local USDA Farm Service Agency first and foremost, and get into the agriculture industry to understand what the USDA is about and what benefits they have. Can you tell us about that, and then move to NRCS, which is our #1 partnership, and we also have them with us today. So tell us a little bit about what you know about the USDA Farm Service Agency and Natural Resource Conservation Services, NRCS.
Well, actually, those are the two major agencies that we usually have at every one of our outreach meetings.
Yes.
And they will be at the one that we're going to have tomorrow in Villa Rica. We'll have our FSA agent, Teresa Wyndham, will be there. I've been seeing her at several of the other farms, and I told her that we have an event and I would like her to be there and bring all of her information, because the FSA that's where you get your funds from, and they help you with your, if you have any, you have to report everything to them. You have to, you get your farm number, farm and track number from them. Whatever you're planting, you're going to report it to them. So it's a very important agency.
Yes.
And after your 3 years, and it's true, after your 3 years, they give you at least 3 years to see how you're doing and how you're going to grow to give you those big funds.
Yes.
So you just don't get it. You just don't get it off the bat. That's why.
Yes, Noreem.
Yes.
Thank you. And for some reason, most people, and maybe that was part, and I take that as part of the fault of my leadership, or the downfall, because I try to give those opportunities. And you're the same way, because we both have been through some of the same similar knocks when dealing with trying to let people in and grow with people who do not have the same heart and interest at heart, especially for our organization. But moving on to NRCS, you can tell us a little bit about them, and then we'll bring in the NRCS leader that's here with us from Georgia. Tell us your experience with NRCS, which is the second major partnership with National Women in Agriculture.
Right. So we deal with the land and the water, and we really enjoy working with them. We had the opportunity to help put up a hoop house.
Yes.
Not to put it up, but to cover it. But our next step is to actually start from scratch in the hoop house, because one of our beginner farmers, she is ordering her hoop house, and we will be able to do that.
Awesome.
We will be able to do it from scratch. But they have been able to come to our meetings and educate on the programs that they offer, whether you need a well or fence, or for your animals, or you need a structure to grow in to protect your crops, during the weather. Those are the kind of programs they have. And usually I'm talking to people and telling them what the USDA, they say, I didn't even know that. So we still have work to do, because people still don't know. And so
there are actual resources with the USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture, that farmers can literally tap into to help them build their business, their farms or their agriculture business, whatever. There's something in every agency, but specifically the big two, I call them, Farm Service Agency, FSA, and NRCS. Those are the first two stops that we want to make sure all farmers, stop and make sure they participate in those programs. But you got to get the paperwork right. And that's, if you need help, you all are out there listening, that's what our organization is about. We will help you do the paperwork. I've literally filled it out for them. Actually has taken people to the actual agencies. And NRCS and FSA are sister companies. So they're right there together. If they're not together, they'll direct you. So without further ado, Ms. Noreem, we have a special treat today to actually bring in Miss Kenesha Miller here from Georgia, from the peachy state, as I say. There's her contact.
Oh, okay.
Hello, how are y'all?
We're well. How are you, Miss Miller?
I'm doing great.
Good. Thank you for
Hi.
being with us, looking all pretty and peachy.
Yeah,
Hey,
they do it
Kenisha.
for the pink.
I love it. I love it. So let us know a little bit who you are and what you do and what you're here to do for the farmers.
Okay, well, right now I am the outreach coordinator for the upper region of Georgia, so I cover the whole north part of Georgia.
Okay.
And as an outreach coordinator for NRCS, what I do is I go in, I help farmers know what they can apply for on the land, be that a presentation to a young farmers meeting or talking to a farmer on their land or doing presentations at the local region so that the other soil cons and descents on district conservationists do not have to do those. So basically I inform everyone on what USDA has to offer.
Okay.
That's
So could you
great.
direct us on some of the primary or your main programs that you see more farmers, it's easier for farmers to access? You just give us some examples of anything.
Yes.
Okay.
So the main one, the most popular is our EQIP program. That's EQIP, Environmental Qualities and Incentives Program. And what it is it helps the farmer complete. It's a program where you complete practices on your farm, and then we'll help you finance those programs. So
Okay.
although we're a technical agency, just say you are a farmer that's in livestock.
Uh-huh.
So we'll go out to your farm. You say, you know what, I do need a trough. So you say, I heard about NRCS, heard they give out money for it. What you do is you go to your local NRCS office. You say, hey, I want to apply for a trough. NRCS will come out and establish other things you may need. So of course, you know you need some more water facilities, but you may not know that you need a heavy use area under your water facility to make sure that the area doesn't get all muddy and create disease for your cow, for your livestock in their
Mm,
holes. So we'll go out there and assess it. We may say you can get a heavy use area. You may be in need of a cross fence, and that's going to bring in more watering facilities in the area to make sure that your cows are getting the efficient amount of water in each area. We might say you need a well. Of course, that go with livestock pipeline. Might need overseeding in your pasture. Things of that sort is the livestock, which you're receiving equal for livestock.
okay.
So if we're talking cropland, it can vary from irrigation, such as micro irrigation,
Mhm.
solid set irrigation. It can
What's
go
that? I had
from
never heard of that. What was that again?
micro irrigation is basically
Oh,
when
I
you
got the micro, but the second one.
solid set. It's basically the irrigation is up like this,
Uh-huh.
and it stands up and it just TPs like that. The
Oh,
water just
got it. I got you.
yeah.
Okay, okay.
It's the most basic one. So for
Okay.
people that have solid set, you can go from solid set to micro irrigation if we put it in.
Okay.
But you can't go from micro irrigation. If we put your micro irrigation in, you can't go back to solid set because the micro irrigation is more efficient. We're all about the more efficient
Right.
water source.
Okay.
Also, just say you have a large field, then we can do a retrofit of your pivots. So that means instead of the water shooting up, it
Uh-huh.
drizzles down. So it
Right.
helps with
Mm.
evaporation and it helps with
Right.
your costs. Yeah, and then we have forestry, of course. So forestry, you have fire breaks, you have thinning of your forestry, you have replanting pine trees. That's loblolly slash and longleaf. So things of that sort. What you do, the best thing to I tell people is go to your office and
Uh-huh.
tell them your resource concerns, tell them what you're looking for, and we more likely have something that can help resolve your issues. But the thing is, like y'all said before, make sure you put your paperwork in. So make sure you go to FSA, you have everything lined up because we have deadlines, we have tight deadlines. We want to
That's
make sure you
right.
go at the right time. So FSA, make sure you get your farm and track number,
Uh-huh.
which doesn't take a lot of time. You probably get that in about 2 or 3 days. The farm and track number, and because you can't apply for any of our programs, our equal program, without that number.
Right.
So when you come to apply for us, have your farm and track number ready. Make sure that you have. Okay, let me make sure I specify this. Make sure that you have your agricultural operation in motion already. So the NRCS does not help people get into agriculture, but we help you if you're already in agriculture.
Doing it.
So
Yeah.
that means if you want to be in livestock, you have to already have livestock out there. You have to have a perimeter fence. So the reason we do not pay for perimeter fence on the land is because it's kind of helping people get in. You have to already have that and your livestock on site, and then we can find ways to help you.
Thank you so much for that. Because, you know, a lot of people automatically think, oh, you're going to help me get started, or you're going to give me some money to start in agriculture. And that's not the case. And possibly after you've been doing it 3 years consistently, and you have records, your paperwork in order, you can get loans from FSA, ownership loans to buy property, or operating to buy equipment to operate, work the land. And then you move to NRCS to assist you. So there are ways to get started, but you have to go through the steps and put in the time consistently. And that's where, you know, we're trying to make sure, especially our young people, understand that.
And the thing is, we help beginning farmers. So everybody in our program, it started at 75% that we help. So we help pay the cost of 75% of the cost of the project.
Okay.
But if you're a beginning farmer, social disadvantage, or a limited resource farmer, you'll get 90% of the cost instead of 75% of the cost. And this cost comes from a national list. So it's not what they actually build. It's what's on our list when we create your contract.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's when you do get started, it's ways that NRCS can help you.
Exactly.
I'm a living witness.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, there's help for you. You just have to get started, and you have to stay consistent to receive something.
Yes.
And that's something with underserved farmers or new and beginning farmers that we are constantly trying to make sure they understand. Consistency is the only way you're going to succeed in this field.
Yes.
On any level. I don't care what you're doing. You just won't make it. As far as careers, if you want to touch a little bit on the pathways, to tell a little bit how, and I don't know if you came through any of the USDA program in education or not.
I did. I actually interned with the USDA for 2 years before I started full time. And it was the best time. I went to Fort Valley State. So when y'all said Dr. Brown, I was like, oh my gosh, I love Dr. Brown.
He's the best.
Yes, he helped me so much on my own farm. And it's a great program to be in. So what you do is you have to major in an agriculture field. And you have to have a certain amount of hours to actually get to the part where you're full-time as an NRCS employee. But we work with you on that. So just say a person is in their junior year, and personally, I was agriculture economics. So I didn't have some of the soil classes. So when I found this out, I took about 2 more soil classes, and then I had it. But you have to make sure you get a certain amount of soil classes in your field. You also have to have a certain amount of hours with the NRCS. So your hours is how much you intern. So most of the time you intern 2 summers, you have the right amount of hours. If you come in as a senior and you're interning that last year, you can, when you go on break, like just say you graduated college, when we have those breaks in between, like okay, you have a December break, come and intern with the NRCS.
Okay.
Interns for like a week or 2 and get your hours up. So we definitely help people with that. And once you get on full time, you'll start as a GS5. And most of the time you're hired as a 579. So it's a GS5, GS7, and then GS9. Then after that, you're competitive and you compete for higher rank.
You don't get it any better. I mean, these opportunities, there's no excuse other than an excuse. That's what I tell you. It's just an excuse that you're making. So what about going back where we're trying to actually help our children is going back even to middle school, because to make them understand and parents understand before they get to high school, they have to have this pattern down to go to school and making the grade. Do you know anything about the grade point average? Because usually what happens, we notice in the underserved communities, it's too late. We get in there, we start talking to them about, applying for these scholarship or pathway programs to have a full ride to college. But most underserved children, they're messed up on the attendance, and they don't have a high school diploma.
Oh, yeah. With the Pathways program, you do have to have a 2.5 in college to get into our program,
In
but
college or
this
high
can
school?
motivate. This can in college,
Okay.
yeah. But to motivate people to make sure that they learn more, if you have a 3 point, if you have a 3.0, yes, you have 3.0, they'll start you with a 7 instead of a 9, instead of a 5. So
Yeah,
they can motivate people to okay, make sure I get my grades up.
that's
The only
right.
thing we have for high school students is if you're 1890 scholar, the USDA
Yeah,
program,
that's what I'm speaking of. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
they'll get a full ride into your college for that. And you
And
have
that's what I was
to
talking about with the high school students having been able to get in. You have to have that grade and you have to have that record because that is the only tool anyone has to go by that you're serious about them investing in you in college. Am I correct?
yes, that's
Okay.
correct. With the USDA scholarship program, you get a full ride with a HBCU college. So this can help a lot. I know a lot of people don't know college is very expensive.
Very.
So
So,
it's
yeah.
better if someone else is helping take that load off of you.
Uh-huh.
But the best we can do with younger students, I say, we say it takes a village, the
Mhm.
local farmers in the area and people we know with USDA, when we go to different schools, we kind of bring something that kind of gets their attention, like a nice farm animal, some
Yes.
ice cream we make from, things like that. They can
Yes.
get your attention and maybe they get interested in agriculture. Because of course, most people, especially in our community,
Mm.
think that farming is
Slave.
it's country, it's
Yeah.
dirty, they don't want to do, it's not fun. It's actually a lot of fun. You can bring a lot of creativity to farming.
Oh, it's wonderful. And that that is exactly what you're saying. And I'm so glad you said that because you are a younger person and we love, love, love to see that, to make sure people and younger people see people that look like them that are exceeding and excelling
Exactly.
in the field. And we really appreciate you taking the time to be with us because this is just another part of our outreach tool, a way of innovative outreach, opposed to we still do like the community outreach. Like Miss Noreen has an event tomorrow. There in Georgia, like it's going to be a hands-on workshop, in person and virtual. But we wanted to be more intentional with this platform, like having a Women in Ag Wednesday talk show, something unique. Where every week we're on from 12 to 1, on Central 1 to 2 Eastern, and just making sure we talk to people that they can relate to and get this information out and constantly getting it out over and over and over. And if they don't catch it, they can catch it on our YouTube channel. It's stored there, so they can always go back and watch it. We also put it on our website and on a certain day where they can click it to the link until the next week, the next show comes on. And then we also boost it, make sure it's on our platform. So we're finding different ways, especially in this new virtual world, if you will, because a lot of people work from home now. And I know a lot of government people do. So it's like we wanted to join in and, try to bring up unique ways to outreach. Because I know people get tired of the same information, the same style. I talked to a lot of the colleagues on the national level that we have to make it look more attractive in agriculture. Um, that's the way it is for the young people to get involved. And we have to make sure we're being intentional on getting the information out to their parents and just people who want to, have adults to make sure. And on that note, is there anything else, Ms. Miller, you would like to add as we end the show?
Yes. I actually wanted to share with you since we're talking about events. We have an
Yes.
urban ag event in Macon on January the 10th. And what it is helping smaller farms get into the USDA. So
Okay.
a lot of our programs, it doesn't fit the very small farms. They might be a tenth of an acre, half an acre,
Okay.
things like that. It's hard for us to put a pinpoint on it financially in the program wise. So they
Okay.
came up with this thing called urban ag. And I wonder, can I present on here?
Yeah.
Share screen. Okay.
Can you share the
So
screen or how did
I
that work?
just want to show
At the
the
bottom,
flyer
you
for it.
see present.
At the bottom of your screen, you should see present to see if you
Okay.
can bring up your flyer. You are most welcome, Miss Whitfield. She says, thank you for this information. I love when I see stuff like that. That's what it's all about. Sharing is caring.
And this is the one right here.
Okay, there you go. Good.
And Miss Kanisha, you have a farm
Yes,
in
I do. And I actually already follow y'all.
right.
And
I
you spoke at
know.
our events before, Miss Kanisha. I
And
remember you.
yes, you remember her.
I remember her
Yes,
very
when you came
well
to
at
Fort
Fort
Valley.
County.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Oh wow,
Okay.
how nice.
Yes,
And
I
this,
saw this flyer.
yeah,
I
We
the
will
urban ag
share that
workshop.
as well. Ms. Kanisha, if you could email us that, we
Oh,
will share
definitely.
that on all of our platforms. This is great information, and I'm trying to figure out a way how I could swing this because I was supposed to be in DC to do an event, and then I'm trying to say how can I just make that little loop? Come on over there. This is awesome.
Yes.
That is great information. So it's an urban workshop to connect farmers on an urban level to
Yes,
USDA programs. Yes.
it is.
That's
It's trying
good.
to incorporate the smaller farms so they can take advantage
Yeah,
of these USDA programs.
most
It's great.
definitely.
Good. I have a beginner farmer in Macon, so I will
Good.
be sure to let her know. Her name is Lavette and her husband, and I will be sure to let her know. We'll just be coming back from Savannah, Georgia. We're going to
Mhm,
be attending the Fruit and Vegetable Conference in
mhm. I
Savannah,
will be there
Georgia.
Okay.
also.
You will be there?
I'll
Okay.
be
How
there.
you doing? That's what I love, Georgia. You all are so, when I say supportive of one another.
Mhm.
And I know, everybody everywhere, but Georgia, when I come there, I'm home in the United States. I'm in the
Mhm.
middle of the country. I'm in Oklahoma, but this is home for me, where I was born and raised. But being
Mhm.
in the position I'm in, I'm able to travel and get in and out whenever I want to. I need to, I should say. And I just commend both of you for being leaders there in Georgia, where you're approachable, because both of you have those are hearts. And I tell people to be in agriculture, you have to have the right heart.
You
If
sure
you
do.
if you don't, you're gonna stay mad, ugly, angry, bad
Yes.
energy. That's because
Yes.
you're trying to do something that's not for you, or you're trying to do
Yes.
Mhm.
it just for you. It will
Yes.
never, what I'm saying? It'll never
Or you're
work.
trying to control something. Like
You're
you can't
trying to
control the
Mhm.
control
weather.
something.
You
And
can't
if
Right.
control.
you're not doing it for the right reason, for the good of yourself and many, it's not going to work.
Yes.
Mhm.
I tell people that, and not to say, National Women in Agriculture is the largest minority nonprofit in the world now. There's nothing like us on the planet. That where we grew from nothing, not even being known as minority women, we weren't even counted in the agriculture count
Mhm.
under the Natural Agricultural Statistics Services. We weren't. They weren't able to put a finger or count minority women, as far as Black women per se, because we were just like we weren't here, and we still have our hurdles. But I'm proud to say, as a result of Miss Noreem's and yourself as a USDA leader, that you don't mind, helping us and educating and working with us. You know, I just thank God for you guys. I mean, I just keep doing what you're doing. Like I said, there are barriers, but the barriers they're getting knocked down slowly but surely. Um, I
Mhm.
can't announce and unveil everything, but we have some great top leaders that's coming into play at the beginning of the year. We will unveil. When I say top organizations, that's going to make a difference, because all we're asking for is 30 minutes with President Biden to speak to us, because as he told us, Black women helped him become president. So we just ask him, hey, do us a favor and listen to us about equality and inclusion, where we have not been provided equal opportunities nor inclusion when it comes to bigger sustainable resources. And
Mhm.
that takes me down where we're trying to become the first Black congressional charter organization ever in American history, which will make us a pilot program to 4-H for at-risk youth. We've been working on this for years.
Yes,
We're
we
right
have.
there on the brinks, because this administration, I feel, is the administration that can do it if they want to do it. If they want equity and inclusion.
Mhm.
Okay. I had one more thing
Ma'am, go right
to
ahead. Go right ahead.
so our event for tomorrow, we have 100 attendees that have registered for
Ooh,
That's
one of the
great.
largest, yes,
mhm.
ma'am. That's that outreach.
Yeah.
And so we calling it empowering landowners, because we want landowners to know all the different ways they can monetize their land. And
Right.
you, I, are you going to be with us tomorrow,
Miss
Tomorrow,
Kanisha?
not
Nisha?
tomorrow. I already have a prior
Okay.
engagement.
Okay, okay, but we do have Mr. Watson coming to represent, so he'll be there. But we just want to emphasize those people who have land. They may not be farming, but they have land. They just don't know what to do with the land. They
Right.
don't know that they can monetize. They're gonna learn 25 ways to monetize their land.
Ooh, Miss
Yes,
Noreem, you have to take that virtual. You guys have to
yes,
take this virtual. This, I mean, you'll capture more people, and people need to know that.
yes, and
How to
it's
utilize
gonna.
the land, and like you said, be
Mhm.
able to have gain
It's,
resources from it.
it's going to be presented by Ghazi and his wife,
Okay.
Cheyenne Muhammad. The two of them moved here. They just recently moved here, and they have been able to amass, so much in a few short years that they have been here, and they're going to educate others the same way.
That is
That's great.
phenomenal. Well, you
Hmm.
all, we have come to the end of the hour. Again, I want to go back. Anything else you want to add before we get ready to close? This has been a great show. I enjoyed it.
Me
I enjoyed
too.
it.
I
Thank
did.
you.
I love the sisterhood when it's really sisters and all nationalities. Because I always have to tell people, if you go out to our website, we're very diverse with
Mhm.
77 chapters in the United States, 19 over in Africa. I do want to take the time to invite you guys early. Our national symposium will be in Oklahoma. We were going to have it in Tampa. It's just not working out as far as venue. We are going to have it nationally here at headquarters because I want to get in all our chapter leaders and leadership to see our outreach center headquarters, what we're trying to put in every state. So it's a model for every state where we have the outreach center on one side and the agriculture childcare STEM after school programs, STEM Saturdays, all that we were trying to put all over the United States as well as overseas. That's the February 21st and 22nd is our national symposium, and our organization will be 15 years old. So we thought, what a better way to celebrate actually on the date, February 21st of 2008 is when we were founded. So just kind of aligning it as Black History Month. We want each and every one who could be here. We have it at a beautiful facility that's like $1 billion facility that's partnered with us, letting us host it there. We would love to have you in Oklahoma. If not in person, definitely virtual, but we're trying to get all of our chapter leaders to bring, 10 to 20 people in with them and just have a wonderful celebration of our accomplishments. So,
Okay.
yes.
We'll do our best.
And now,
We'll do our best.
yes, I know you will, Miss Noreen. I know you will. You guys make sure you join Miss Noreen tomorrow. In what part of Georgia? You told me it was 20 minutes
It's
out.
in Villa Rica. The ranch is in Villa Rica.
Villa Rica. Villa Rica. See, I didn't even
Villa
know
Rica.
that. So that's
Hmm.
tomorrow, starting at 9 a.m. And then on what day, Miss?
On January the 10th.
January 10th
Yes.
is that urban event. So these are two
Mhm.
dynamic events. Only way you can earn is if you learn. And that puts me at the end. It's a great day in ag to make that bag.
Make that bag.
Yes, ma'am. So you guys have a wonderful New Year celebration. I'm blessed much and many blessings in the year of 2023. I do believe that's our year. Number 3 is one of my favorite numbers. So you guys, God bless and thank you for being a part of agriculture.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
It was
Bye-bye.
great.
Okay.
So much.